Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Pons Talk. My name is Annabelle Lin from Dulwich College, Shanghai, Pudong, and I will be your host today. In this podcast series, we will be interviewing Dulwich College international alumni on their personal and professional development, social engagement within the Dulwich College international alumni family, and pioneering change to create positive global impact. Today's guest, dialing in live from Washington, D.C., is Dulwich College Beijing's international Old Elenian Ingrid Bodine. Hello, Ingrid. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to hearing more about your experiences. So to start off, Dulwich promotes this idea of graduating worldwide, and I think with that comes the notion that we should help our environment and the people around us. So how do you think your time at Dulwich helped to shape your passion for wanting to make a positive impact on the world around you?
Sure. So thank you so much again for having me today. I'm very delighted to talk to you guys and be on this podcast. In terms of how I feel like my Dulwich experience really shaped who I am as a person who's advocating for sustainability and environmental change and things like that, I think the very global network in which Dulwich College lies in is what teaches you to really become a international citizen. So that's recognizing what is going on all around the world. And that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed since coming to college that I'm so proud to have, because I feel like a lot of people, when they have a very limited experience in terms of exposure to culture and other countries and other experiences, they're less likely to really understand what is going on in the world and things that are happening beyond themselves. So I feel like Dulwich did a very good job of making me into a global citizen that has allowed me to obtain a more holistic perspective on what we do and why climate change and sustainability is so important to recognize. Because in order to create a sustainable and progressive future in which everyone is safe and happy, we have to recognize this immediate need to fulfill sustainability objectives and reduce the impact we have on our planet.
I mean, I'm definitely experiencing that right now in my school life, where I'm surrounded by people from all over the world. And like you said, it really, I'm sure, is going to set me up a lot better than it would in my home country. Following on, were there any co-curriculars or activities which you were involved in your time at Dulwich, which related to climate action or the UN Sustainable Development Goals?
Yeah, actually, there were a couple. So I had the opportunity of being part of the Interact Club. I was actually the president of the Interact Club during my time at Dulwich. And we obviously, if anyone actually knows what the Interact Club does, we basically achieve a lot of different philanthropy and awareness raising objectives through raising money all the way to actually doing actions such as building houses in Cambodia. So that really built me up to, I guess, recognize the importance of doing work like that outside of just my schoolwork and my academics. And another thing I was a part of, I was also a prefect. I was either called like a sustainability, or I forgot what was the actual name of my role. But essentially, I did like presentations on different things that were going on in the world to make the Dulwich community aware of, and I would present on those things. Doing kind of the IB, it was extremely difficult to include a lot of extracurriculars just because it's such a challenging course, but a lot of mine were centered around sustainability, I guess.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you were part of the Interact Club at Dulwich Beijing, and
Yeah.
like currently I'm also a prefect. So my prefect team and I, we're thinking of actually starting an Interact Club, and like we did a training 2 weeks ago about Interact and like what we can kind of expect to see. So what kind of opportunities, I guess, do you think the Interact Club brought you at Dulwich Beijing?
Oh, it brought me so many, like it was one of the most significant things I was a part of. It was really, especially at Dulwich Beijing at the time when I was a part of it, it was a very big club. I think it was the largest student-ran organization at school. And the amazing work that we just got to do, especially building houses in Cambodia, was just so prevalent, and it really kind of like shaped my perspective about the world and what I want to do and the kind of impact I wanted to create. So I would definitely recommend doing it because I think it brings a lot of opportunities. Also, not that this, is the most important thing on the table, it made my college resume look good because you gain so many different skills from being in a position like that. And me being or having a leadership position in Interact and both doing kind of philanthropy and community service work, which number one, colleges love. Number two, also being able to apply leadership skills. Running a student organization is not always easy. Can be chaotic, but if you are successful at doing it, just there's so many great skills that you can put in your toolkit just by doing that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think the main worry right now for us is that it's going to be too much on top of the kind of initiatives that we already promote throughout our
Yeah,
school and are doing.
for
But
sure, definitely.
maybe it'll help like maybe guide us a little bit more, which
Yeah.
may be interesting to think about. But thank you for that advice. I appreciate it. Would you say that your involvement in these activities, like relating to the SDGs, influence what you wanted to do in your university life or like life post Dulwich?
Oh yeah, for sure it did. I feel like so I'm currently a international affairs major, and the reason I even chose to do international affairs has a lot to do with my involvement in Interact and my involvement with kind of the nonprofit side of things and being exposed to that and being exposed to the UN. I did Model UN too, so I feel like being exposed to that at such a young age really shaped and allowed me to pursue a academic career in international affairs because of the fact that I wanted to, I guess, make a change and, potentially work for like a nonprofit or an organization that was advocating for sustainability or other causes.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. Like from my experiences at Dulwich, I also want to look into going to like international affairs or something to do with sustainability. So I'm really interested in that. But relating to what you said, I'm curious as to which SDG you're most passionate about or have the most interest in, if there is any in particular.
Oh, that's kind of a hard one. Which one am I most passionate about? Let me think, because there are just so many to pick from too. I would have to say probably number, if I remember correctly, 4, which is I think education, something to do with education. And I think that's the one that really stuck out to me since I was at Dulwich, because of the fact that I feel like we are so lucky to have such an amazing education, because I feel so empowered by my education. I feel like everyone should have the right to quality education, and that's really the way to build a next generation of very mindful and insightful individuals that can really make those changes for the future.
Thinking about life post Dulwich, I know I personally am really eager and looking forward to go to university myself. So I would love to hear more about your university experiences currently. So if you could let listeners know what university you go to and what major you are studying.
Sure. So I am currently a senior, so I'm a last year student at the George Washington University, located in Washington, D.C., and I'm majoring in international affairs with a concentration in conflict resolution and a minor in anthropology.
What sort of initiatives or activities are you involved in at George Washington relating to the SDGs?
Sure. So I'm part of the Rotaract Club, which is kind of like the Interact Club, but like the college version of it. So I continued that on into college. I'm also part of a sorority right now, and we do a lot of external philanthropy, and a lot of it has to do. So I think one of our philanthropies, what the thing I take most pride in doing would probably being a volunteer at Miriam's Kitchen, which is this soup kitchen in DC, and I try to be like a monthly volunteer for that. That's something that I do through my sorority. We also do so many fundraising events for different philanthropies, from Alzheimer's, which I know isn't exactly linked to SDGs, but at the end of the day, I feel like any external work that you're doing in order to help your community and progress them to, other individuals to become better people and better members of society, that's all eventually linked to the SDGs too. We also do a fundraising event for, if I remember correctly, marine life. So sustainable water sources too. Yeah, I guess a lot of volunteer activities is what I focus on.
I know there's a lot of different initiatives that you're able to sign up for once you get to university. So I'm curious as to like if you thought it was hard to find these activities, which you've mentioned you're a part of, like these service opportunities.
hmm Not at all. They make it pretty easy. I think the biggest difference, like, this is my number one piece of advice for everyone who goes to college in general. You are going to get what you decide to take. So if you are choosing not to really put yourself out there or, going to the org fair, learning more about these organizations, they're not going to really come to you. So they make it easy in terms of they have a whole website set up with all of this. They have org fairs every single semester. You have a lot of friends who are involved in things already that you can then join. I think it's just about being really curious and putting yourself out there.
Okay, that's good advice. Thank you. Now, looking more at the DCI Sustainable Development Grant, if you could tell us a little bit more about that, how you heard about it, and why you decided to apply.
So I heard about it when I got the email about the grant. And the reason I really wanted to do the grant, beyond the fact that it would be such an amazing opportunity regardless, um, I actually chose not to study abroad during my time at school. And that was an active choice that I made. I was actually meant to go somewhere, and last minute I decided to pull out. And a big part of me has always wished that I took part in that process. And because of that, I really wanted a learning experience that summer that would take me abroad somewhere.
Yeah. And speaking of the process, what did that interview process look like to be chosen for your specific internship?
Yeah, sure. So I applied online for the grant. I think there were certain, if I remember correctly, there were written responses that I needed to make. And then I also had to send in my resume. Then, yeah, and then I heard back about doing an interview, did the interview. I think we only had one interview or one initial interview. And then after that, I heard back. It honestly was a very smooth and great process. I'm talking about the grant. In terms of actually getting my internship placement, what happened was months after that, obviously COVID started to spread to lots of different places. And because of that, we had to change the original plan of the internship being in person to now being online. And I was really grateful to the whole Pons team to really accommodate us and make those changes. They helped me figure out and personalize exactly what I want from this experience. And they went back and looked at a bunch of different internship sites, found a few that liked me and thought that I would like them back, and showed me the opportunities. I did those interviews, and then I decided upon my internship placement after that.
So, what was the focus of your internship?
So I intern at a startup called Talk to You. Essentially what they do is they use AI technology, artificial intelligence technology, to create chatbots for social impact and change. So they address lots of different issues, and they work with very cool companies, including UNICEF, to create these chatbots that are aimed at specific demographics to create change in them. I was a business development intern, so I did a lot of different things, which was super cool. So I looked at lots of research and conducted data analysis on market trends in order to kind of see potential opportunities for Talk to expand globally. I also redesigned their external communication strategy. So I redid their entire social media. I also designed a new website. And another cool thing that I got to take part in, kind of partnership outreach, because they were trying to launch a project in China. So we got to take part in, reaching out to different organizations, individuals online, and set up meetings and things like that. So that was really cool. That's essentially what I did.
No, that's really interesting. Like, I'm really interested to hear about it.
Yeah.
But were some of your biggest maybe challenges and successes that you've taken that came from the internship?
Yeah. So honestly, it was a really great experience overall. One of the challenges I faced was kind of obviously the time difference. So I was actually located in California all summer, and the internship site is in Buenos Aires, and the time difference was pretty significant to the point where like if I had a meeting at like 9 a.m., I would have to wake up 5 or 6. And doing those morning meetings were tough at first, but I got used to it. Another great part, but also a challenging part of the internship, was the startup culture I was in. So Talk to You is obviously a startup that's still very new, and that's really amazing because in a startup, this is one of the greatest things about working in a startup, and this is from my past experiences too. It's just the amazing amount of innovative energy amongst the entire staff and the entire team. And I really just loved that, loved the drive that everyone had. And that's why I really wanted to work there too, because I just love that kind of energy. But the issue that comes with that is a lot of the times people can be indecisive. So someone might think that they want one thing and then someone else decides they want something else because everyone is just so passionate about it. It kind of made my job a little bit challenging at times because I feel like I had to go in different directions to figure it out. But that's part of the process. And once I got better at, asking specific questions to and verifying things, I think my job became a lot easier.
So what are your plans from here to build on that internship with Talk to You?
Currently, I am a senior, so I'm about to graduate from TW. The objective here would probably to get a job. That's very, very high on the list of things I have to do. I had to thank a lot of the experience I had this summer to really build up the set of skills that I can use in another job. I already mentioned this, but as an international affairs major, I think it's a very cool major, but it also means that there isn't a specific skill set that you really develop. Me wanting to kind of move more into this startup aspect of social impact, I think it was really cool to obtain those skills and I can apply those in another position. What I really want to do is consulting. So going into the world of kind of consulting and specifically more to do with social impact and government kind of based consulting. So those are kind of the options I'm pursuing right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting for like me personally to consider, like moving back into the Dulwich Worldwide Alumni Network. Seeing as you are a part of this network, why do you choose to continue to engage with DCI students and members?
After I left Dulwich and after I left really Beijing, I valued the community in which I grew up in so much more now than I did when I was there. And that's not because I didn't appreciate it when I was there, but it was really leaving Dulwich. I found the value of a Dulwich education because when you're at Dulwich, everyone has kind of the same, multicultural perspective that you have and this amazing drive that you see in a lot of the students and all of these things that make the Dulwich community so special. And when you leave, you're not always going to get that. And because of that, I'm so happy I had grew up in such a valuable community that I want to give back because I want that next generation to, have the guidance and find inspiration in alumni and in people who were in the same position as them just a couple of years ago.
I think that's like really helpful to, I'm sure, the people listening and myself as a student. I know it helps a lot. But to finish off, is there any final advice that you would give younger alumni or maybe like older year students like myself that maybe you wish you had heard when you were about to graduate?
I think the biggest thing that I heard is the biggest thing that I want to say that I wish someone had said to me was just don't stress that much. I understand we're all very stressful people, so it's easy to get stressed, especially in a really highly academic environment like Dulwich and where everyone has this amazing drive. But don't be so stressed about what you end up pursuing. Obviously, this is not for every single type of school. I know that British schools are a little bit different if you go to a British university, but in America, like most schools are going to allow you to adjust. So don't be pressed or stressed about picking exactly what you want to do. But with that being said, when you get to college, really spend that first year figuring out and trying out as many things as you, want to in order to try to find what you want to do instead of kind of wasting your time just going through the motions. If you want to take that film class, take that film class. If you want to take that class in environmental sustainability, but you're a math major, go ahead and do that because you might develop a second passion for something else. And I've developed so many second passions throughout my time at college. So don't be so pressed and stressed right now. a lot of this can change in the future.
Yeah. Thank you for that advice. And so like I'm only in my first couple months of the IB, but I've
Mhm.
seen this trend of like you have to be a critical thinker. But do you think, honestly, do you think that holds true and that the IB did set you up to be a critical thinker?
100% it did. Um, and I think the reason is it's also the courses I took. I took higher level lang lit, and that really helped me with my writing skills because when I got to college, boom, I was a very, very fast writer. And, even your EE helped me develop really great critical thinking skills because I had to write a paper like I've never written a paper before. And spoil alert, when you get to college, a lot of your papers are going to be as long as the EE, or if not longer. So
Oh,
they do require to for you to write a lot, but that's not going to be a problem if you've been doing that for a really long time. And I did that in high school. So for me, that wasn't a problem. And also identifying information. This isn't so much the AB, but during the IGCSEs, I took history. And that really teach me how to identify stuff fast and recognize information fast. And I can continue to apply that to this day.
okay, yeah. Thank you, because I know I've heard that the IB is a lot of hard work now, but it will pay off eventually, and so I'm just looking forward
Yeah,
to that.
no, it definitely
Um,
will. The time management you develop or not develop in IB is really going to teach you how to manage yourself in college too. Because if you weren't good at time management during the IB, you'll learn to be good because you have to be for college.
mhm.
Whereas I was able to develop that while I was in IB, so now I have no problem. Yeah, I slip from time to time in terms of oh, I really, you have so many things to do at once, but you're so much better at spreading it out and understanding what to work on first. You're very good at multitasking. I think that's another thing the IB helped me with.
Thank you for that, and thank you for this interview. I personally learned a lot, and hopefully the listeners learned a lot too. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the second episode of the Pons Talk. For more information on Worldwide's alumni network, please check out our website, alumni.dulwich.org. Stay tuned, and we are looking forward to having you with us next month.